Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for October 11th, special early edition. I'm Dave Slusher, joined with Andrew Barnes and Chuck Tomasi. And what we're going to do this week is carry on forward, like right where we ended last week. We're going to celebrate Spoketoberfest. And I am getting, I'm going to take my headphones off for a second while I figure out where my repeating is. I think I have the YouTube window open, and it is killing me. So give me, go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen, while I figure this out.
All right. Hello, I'm Andrew Barnes, developer advocate at ServiceNow. Been with the company a little over a year. Been doing ServiceNow stuff for a little over 5 years now. I specialize in update sets, managing development teams, building custom applications, and basically any tooling for developers on the platform is my passion. So glad to be here today. To you, Chuck.
Hey, I'm Chuck Tomasi, Senior TPMM at ServiceNow. I've been on the platform for about 11 years, 2 as a customer, and the rest as an employee doing custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. Just having a good time, sharing best practices and experiences with you, the wonderful customers and partners out there. So thank you very much for joining us today.
All right. And I'm Dave Slusher, developer advocate with the developer program, developer.servicenow.com. Tech tip for you live coders: do not leave yourself on the YouTube waiting screen when you go live, because that will cause problems. All right. Been on the platform 6 years, been a developer advocate for 4 years. And Andrew, do you want to, before we get rolling, you want to say where you are and why you're there?
I actually do. So I'm actually in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. I flew in yesterday and spent the day with, the evening with ServiceNow developers doing a hackathon event. So we're doing this month, Hacktoberfest from DigitalOcean is a contribute to open source projects. And if you do 4 pull requests against open source projects, they'll send you a shirt. Well, at least the first 50,000 of you that do so. And as part of that, we are doing Spoketoberfest, which is building integration hub spokes. We started this last week. And the developer meetup here in Minneapolis decided to do a Spoketoberfest hackathon. And so I came in for that. And so last night we worked on the building spokes for Integration Hub. And we had 4 different teams working on 4 different integration spokes. And it was a lot of fun. It was new for everyone in the room except for me. So there was lots of learning going on, and it was super fun. And so right now I'm sitting in a hotel waiting to go to the airport to go home so I could go to Tokyo.
Why don't you just go right from there to Tokyo? It's shorter.
It is shorter, but not much.
All right. And so we should point out that, we did the show last week, 4:30 to 5:30-ish. And I believe we had our first pull request submitted to Spoketoberfest about 5 p.m. We were in the middle of the show and somebody had forked a repo, done some work, and submitted a pull request. So that was pretty fantastic. So thank you, everybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue forward from where we left off last week. We do not have beers. I'm drinking a fine Speedway coffee, today vintage, which is a step up.
The finest Coke Zero that money can buy.
And I've got some water with a sassafras tea extract added.
I mean, it is afternoon here, but I'm not that hardcore. So
yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do, so where we left off last week is in the course of the hour, we got ourselves a couple actions working against Linode. And so this is one of the things that we did, and I'm going to go ahead and start to share now. One of the things that we did is we hard coded a region. We really had the kind of the very minimal set of stuff. Like when you start a VM, you're already kind of authenticated to the account. And we're really only asking for 2 pieces of information, which is what's the region while this thing loads, what's the region that you're going against, and what is the type of VM that you want to create. So what we're going to do is actually set up a dynamic input against that region. And this guy, I'm going to go ahead and reload this because it seems a little slow and angry today.
Because in reality, your user who's putting this into a flow isn't necessarily going to know the regions. And even if you did a choice list, odds are that choice list is going to change at some point. So we want to pull the official regions from Linode.
Correct. And this is not an academic concern because like 2 months ago, the Mumbai region went online, right? So they added a new data center and they added a new region. And so it's this is exactly the use case, which is this thing changes over time. It doesn't change a lot, but it may change 2, 3, 4 times a year, which is more than you want to have to maintain a list.
Yeah.
But it's also enough that you need to keep it up to date. So this is exactly why dynamic choices exist. Now, step one, like last week, you remember we were fumbling around and not finding the dynamic choice when I was kind of thinking about it. There is a very, very good technical reason for that. And that is you have got to have the Integration Hub Enterprise Pack enabled. Which
So
I did not.
Plugin. Yeah.
So by the way, I was enabling, we were to open the kimono, we were activating that plugin like 7 seconds before the show started up. So I enabled that on this particular instance. So that is the thing to know. If you're looking for this and you don't see it, you may not have the enterprise enabled on that. So this is where, and bear in mind too, there's a little bit of fumbling and I've got the docs ready to go over here because we may, like no one on this call has used these things.
I think you're underestimating the amount of fumbling we'll do.
This may be an all fumble show, which is okay.
This might be all fumble show, but that's good because then you, the listener, don't have to fumble quite as much as we did.
That is our job here, is to fumble. So you fumble for you. I'll fumble for you, as Boy George said.
Something like that.
Like one of the things we did is we went to look for examples. Andrew was looking for examples, and we didn't actually find real world examples. So we are creating it right here. So here's everything I know is from these doc sites. And I know that in dynamic inputs, you have to have a data gathering input. So we're going to go out, we're going to hit an API, we're going to get JSON back, and then we're going to somehow figure out what to extract from that JSON.
Yeah. We're going to parse it and we're going to put it as an output. And then we're going to use that output as the input to this action.
So the very first thing that we need is a data gathering action, which I believe, is it the same as dynamic inputs?
No, so we need to create a new action.
We need
that has a REST step in it.
Okay, so our first action is going to be, so we need to create a get regions action. Is that correct?
Yes, that is precisely what we need to do. It may not need to be as specific as get regions, but I think that's a good start.
Let's just call it get. Let's call it get regions.
Get Linode list or something.
I'm going to say not get Linode because we're going to put it in the Linode spoke.
Okay.
So I'm going to not put Linode in the name of the action, which I think is best practice. I'm not going to set this other stuff right here. We'll just leave all this for right now. But I do have to remember to, once again, always remember to put it in the correct spoke.
Yes.
So we're going to do that. Now the data gathering action.
So we'll start with the REST step that, connects to Linode and gets those regions from them.
Does it need any inputs? That would seem counterintuitive if its job was to make inputs, but.
Yeah, so it could need inputs. So if, for example, you wanted to say, get the fields from tables in ServiceNow, the input would be which table.
Okay, yeah.
In our case, we're gonna, get, so if we wanted to make it generic, like get fields from tables in another system, then we'd need inputs. I think in our case, we just want to get regions. So if there's an API call that does that, then that's basically all we need.
There it is. He's found
and
it.
There already. It is. And there is, this is what it looks like.
That's what the response will look like.
Let's go ahead and get this. And I believe this is an unauthenticated one. And so all we really need is to just pull this list of IDs out of this guy.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's figure this out.
Should be pretty straightforward.
Start off with a REST step.
Hey, we've already got the Linode API imported. I'll bet that's in there as one of our actions.
I bet it might be.
I guarantee it is.
Open API for the win. clicking the button and getting it to work in Flow Designer when it's angry from the other screen might not be possible.
Are we fumbling yet?
I think it might be angry on your create dynamic inputs, your other.
Oh, this
You had
one
a
over
modal
here.
open.
Yeah.
Do I have a window? Okay.
You had a
So
modal open somewhere.
I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that.
Feels like
start over. We're going to start over. When in doubt,
when in doubt,
turn it off and turn it back on.
This might be a
Refresh the
restart
whole.
Flow. Restart
Right.
Flow Designer.
Hopefully we don't have to go so far as to Z-boot the instance.
Hello.
All right. Once again, this is not the problem I expected to have. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to close the window and start over. All right. Let's go back to Flow Designer. Starting back over. Go back to the actions.
Yep.
Go back to get regions.
Yep.
Please add a step.
What the heck?
Well, that's not.
Do any actions work on there? I mean, can you create an input? Okay,
Can
worked. Something's wonky.
Adding the plugin broke Flow Designer. Do a cache dump for your instance.
I don't remember how to do that.
In the URL bar, cache.
You could do it on the navigator.
Navigator too. Yeah.
What I haven't done it in so long. I don't remember. Just here.
.do.
Cache.
That'll work too. Waiting.
Okay.
There we go. Now relaunch Flow Designer.
Alrighty.
Let's hope you didn't break your instance.
Yeah, if I did, this is going to be a very short show.
Wow. Okay.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Open another action.
Here's what we'll start this. We're going to start eliminating possibilities.
Firefox.
We're going to start over. Brand new window. You can see the Sydney Brew Op schedule for those who are interested. All right. Going back to my employee instance. Going back to Flow Designer. If we don't see that in here, we'll just delete and try to create a new. Now look at that.
So I just created that.
Oh, you created that.
Yeah,
and it works.
And I can add a rest step. So
all right.
I have faith in you now.
It's a Dave thing.
No kidding. What is
Andrew,
happening
you
here?
may be the driver all of a sudden.
I am not kidding in that my button is not working for me specifically.
Okay.
All right.
We've narrowed that down.
So I used Chrome and it worked. So try Chrome.
He was using Chrome, I thought.
Nope.
No, he was using Firefox.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's hope this still remembers my.
I'll take over, even though that may be super troublesome because I think a lunch is going to start behind me in a moment.
All right. Tell you what, put the thing on and you guys cover me for about 30 seconds while I get this logged in.
You want the shrubbery?
Yes, shrubbery is on. Again, if you go to developer.servicenow.com and visit the blog, you can see the details of the Hacktoberfest and our particular Spoketoberfest. You don't have to contribute to the things we've suggested. Anything over in the Hacktoberfest is interesting to contribute to. There's even a list of events on the Hacktoberfest site, including the one that I attended last night. But you can no longer attend that because it's over. But find something in your area and get contributing to open source. And no, just doesn't like you. All right.
Dave, is there anything
So-
in the,
so
in the
we have-
console log that might be jumping out at us?
Let's look at it.
Just
So
out of
this is
curiosity.
actually, I think,
It still might be useful to just take a look because we know that your instance
look in the
isn't
console.
broken.
Caught at root saga. Whoop, 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 whoop. I think what this says is this is something with my user account, right? So
Impersonate Andrew.
That is entirely a thing you could do.
let's do that.
But you have to sound like Andrew too. Accent and all.
Oh, please don't. No one wants to hear their own voice. That's not a thing.
You should be making videos.
All right.
I don't
You
have to
don't have-
watch the videos.
Here's the problem. Andrew does not have DevMouse. Okay. So why don't you take over for a second, Andrew?
Andrew doesn't
while
have what?
You don't have permission, the Andrew Barnes account. Are you just admin? Are you hopped in?
No, I have admin on the Andrew Barnes account.
I think we're also, Andrew, I think we're still looking at the shrubbery.
Oh goodness. There we go.
Okay. All right, here we are. All right, I am now Andrew. We'll see what Andrew does when Andrew logs in. So get regions.
And give it a second
working.
because it did actually take a second for it to render on my screen. I saw processing.
Processing. Okay, it's not processing.
All right, why don't you take over, Andrew? Something's
Okay. Well, we'll see how that works, but I will try. Stop share, and I will take over share. All right. Share. Desktop.
The unexpected things that get you.
And
All right.
can someone go check to see if, well, I can check it. Here, let me go look.
It looks like it's flipping
Yes.
through pretty good. I'm watching YouTube. We're
Sure.
on.
Oh God, yeah.
Right.
So I can't do that.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
Never mind. You're good.
All right.
All right. So you're going to create a REST step.
Rest up, and hopefully we can. Oh, we don't even need a connection.
We don't need that.
Shouldn't need anything.
Well,
Uh,
we do need.
the connection alias.
The request from API.
I know.
Yep. Operations can be your get
Yeah.
regions.
How about just regions? Regions.
No.
Yeah.
Star region.
Does it respect
Sure.
wildcards?
Oh, it does. Okay.
Just regions.
Just regions.
Wow. Okay.
But I still need a connection alias.
For
we
the
should have-
endpoint. For the base URL.
No, I don't need auth. I need the
Okay,
base.
you need the base URL.
Yeah.
All right. And so the API, you want to hit me the, actually, I'm definitely not going to go over to Slack right now.
You don't need. Yeah, you shouldn't need anything at this
Shouldn't
point.
need
That-
anything. It just dumped all the JSON at you when you're done.
Yeah, that should. Be
Okay.
everything.
Well, let's take a look then.
Yeah, save test.
I love running the test right here.
I do too.
Makes me so happy.
Sliced bread.
All right.
Got a nice 200.
200.
I see a payload worthy of. There it is.
US West. That is one of the
AP
things that
West,
you.
It's
US
exactly
West.
what we want to see. So
Nice.
Yep.
All right. So we can retrieve regions. Now we need to output them.
Yeah, you need to put it in
So
that
we're gonna
format.
need-
What was it? It
gonna
was like a
script step.
value and a label or a label. And there's a certain format these go in.
yeah, and let me pull that up in the background while you.
We're going to need a JSON output. This is going to be region. Region. This thing's going to output.
So it's a JSON output, not an object output, an array of objects.
I
right?
believe that it's a JSON one for
Okay.
for this. But
Yes.
we're fumbling, so
Well, it's an
Okay, so
important
here's
detail.
the data gathering action.
yeah.
Must have an output variable named output with a data type JSON.
Okay.
Oh,
The action,
variable output needs to be called.
the action output
Yeah, this guy.
needs to be output of type JSON.
Is it
But
called
the
output?
name doesn't have to be output. It just has the output has to be JSON.
Output variable named output.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So
Very good.
our script is going to have outputs.output.
Got it.
Yeah.
The output's called output. Got it.
It's a bit like answer in some things.
And I could call this region and pass it in.
And map it to output.
And the script step, and this I'm reading directly from the docs here. The script step must have an output variable named data, which contains values to be passed to the dynamic input. So we're going to create, I don't understand this data.
Yeah, what is that?
I'm not going to worry. Let's not worry about that. What we want to do is output is an array. And it is an array of fields.
Oh, you got a typo in there.
Respond body. Great. And you said it's a what?
It's an array.
So create, in fact, so var output, create an array.
Give me I actually think that over here, one of these, I actually had a parser for one of for like this, and it had useful words in it.
Yes, useful words.
I'm going to take this, bring it over here, and see what these useful words say.
Yes. Modify an out-of-box example whenever possible.
This isn't super out-of-boxy, but we're going to look at it anyway.
Okay, so
all right. So transform the previous in the format. Yeah. Single JSON. So this looks like it's straight from what you were reading, Dave.
Okay. The format of the JSON output must have a property called data.
Okay.
That makes sense. So
output dot data must be that thing.
Output dot tables is an object of data. See the last line of 35? That's where we're headed.
Well, they called theirs tables because
they're looking for tables.
Because they were looking for tables. We're going to look for regions.
Perfect. And then regions there.
And this is going to be
30 should be regions.
Region.
Trust that it was payload result. And this is where we need to.
And we'll pull back up the regions JSON.
Look at its format.
Yeah, JSON comes back as an array of data objects, and ID is the thing that we want for that. So that would be the thing that is the choice.
I'm more of a for loop guy. That was pretty intense JavaScript. But
well, yeah, and it's a ES6 JavaScript too.
Fingers crossed.
So data country, and we need ID. It's basically what we're looking for.
Yeah, all we really need is ID, and in fact, we're fine.
Label in there.
Goodness, it's almost already in the format that we want it.
You could. Because we don't have like a semantic name. So really the name and the value are the same thing, which is just that ID. That's literally the only thing we need out of this is the ID.
Use the ID for both the label and the name. No worries.
And so we want to look for.
Yeah, I don't know if all that filter stuff works in what we have. It seems weird that it was shipped without it. It must because it's working in other ones, right?
Yeah.
This can't be ES6. It's got to be ES5, right?
I believe map is 6. and filter is 6. But we don't have to do it this way. But so we want to look for ID.
We want to loop over data, the array of data, right?
Yeah,
So
we might actually benefit from just
I'd go the other way.
building it ourselves how we want.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and let me grab a snippet of this output.
Response body.
Yeah, just so we can
Beautify
see
that
the
thing.
format.
Just throw it in a beautifier. 'Cause I can't tell what it looks like. There's an array within an array.
All right. I'll make this a little bigger so people can see it.
Page 1.
All right.
Data is an array.
Data
So
is
you
an
want
array.
to iterate over
Data is an array.
data. And in data, you just want that ID.
Each one
And we only
contains one ID, and we just want the ID.
So
That's the
data
only
sum
thing we
whatever
want.
dot ID.
Yep. I guess what we could do is also, because it is listing the capabilities, right? If we wanted to be really rigorous here, I'm pretty sure that there is no region that can't host a VM, but you'll notice that they don't all have all the capabilities.
That is true. They don't all.
Some have let me find one that has 2. If you scroll down a little bit, like if it has 2, which one is
this one?
It's missing the
Block storage.
Okay.
So for now,
This one's got object storage. Ooh.
Let's put a pin in that for right now.
Yep.
That may be a thing we want to optionally add later on. Is that like if we're saying list regions, and we're getting we may actually want an input to a region, which is input to this thing, which is what capability do we need? Now I don't know if you can have an input to a data gathering action.
Well, we figured yes, you can, because
yes,
if you wanted to get
you definitely can have one.
Yeah.
So do you want to go ahead and do that now, or what? Let's start it. Just
let's start it getting a thing that works.
Let's get everything, and then if we can, we'll pass in the capability filter.
All right. So we want to. Yeah, we don't even need region yet. So we parsed it, and now we want to iterate over this. So we want to. Oh, there's no autocomplete here. So we'll loop over these. Oh, I'm gonna feel real bad today with my for looping skills. All right. Let's all right. Semicolon.
No, it equals 0. You got to initialize it.
Oh yeah, we got to initialize it. Oh, I was just talking about this the other day. Whatever we want, which is going to be
payload.data.length. No, payload.data.length. Data is inside of payload.
Data length.
Andrew, if you wouldn't mind maybe hitting +1 on that thing, that's actually.
I don't mind at all.
All right, thank you, sir.
Make the things bigger. There we go. All right, so now in here, we want to take a look at
one of the data items.
We want to create a variable. Let's just create a
variable.
var region there.
Equals payload.data.length or payload.data.
Payload.data sub I.
I love doing that practice. It just makes using that object so much easier throughout the loop.
All right. So now we've got regions. Well, we've got yeah. Do we want to call that region?
That's one of the
we could call it let's call it Linode region.
I like that.
Now let's create.
Now we want to do region.
Correct.
This Linode region. dot
and Linode
region.
dot ID, right?
So
yes.
do you want to just go ahead and create the full JSON packet right there? So you could just do bracket,
Oh, you could.
bracket, was it name?
And then pop
name
that
and
into the
label?
array.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're asking me to do.
So left bracket, left curly brace.
And in fact, do you want to take over driving again now that we have a thing that's working?
If it's, let's do that.
Yeah. See if you can load this on your screen. And if
That's
so, you
not
can
good
take
for
over
Bob.
because lunch is starting behind me.
Stop
It's
sharing.
getting loud.
Okay.
Well, we'll verify if he.
Yeah. Well, let me pull it up. I'm telling you, I'm not even seeing your step in there when I open region.
Grab me a sandwich, will you?
Something is very, very weird here.
Okay. Well, we'll continue on then. All right. So you said you want to craft it here, or you want to get the list of IDs, or what's the plan?
So left brace. Yeah. So here, what we're going to do is just create one JSON hash object.
Okay.
So start with the left brace. So region equals left curly brace.
No, that's
And then we're going to
curly brace.
curly braces.
There you go.
Then,
Goodness.
so string name, quote name, colon, Linode region,
Linode region.
dot,
Yep.
Or no, dot ID.
dot ID.
Yep.
Correct.
Same thing for the label.
Then comma, and exactly the same thing for value.
Value. That's what it was.
There you go.
And that's gonna get us, yeah. So
I think that's all we need.
our name
And now
and
we
value
need-
will be the same. It's great.
Right.
Just
So now all
stick
we
with
need
an
is an
array.
array to stash these.
Yeah.
So initialize that somewhere around line 4.
Yeah. Mm,
You could almost say outputs.region equals empty array here. And then just keep pushing these things in. And then by the time you're done with the loop, it's built.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Although, yeah, do we have to do some weird? Do we have to do a conversion to?
Well, it needs to have that data in there. So
We need to do a JSON encode as the last step, right?
I don't think so.
I was gonna leave this just like this and just
Okay.
smack in that.
Yep. I like where you're going.
So here we just need to push in to regions,
Regions dot push. Region.
and then we're gonna region.
Yep.
Yeah, that should dump these guys in there, and then that guy gets dumped in there.
Yep.
That
That
looks
looks correct.
like it's something that we can look at.
Okay. So go ahead and if you want to just test this action by itself.
Yep.
And we should have what we expect to see.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I was looking at the outputs. Uh-oh.
Unexpected token. All right.
Token U.
Token U. No token U.
No token. Where's the token U?
So that is
I'm not seeing a
U,
row.
comma detail.
Never seen that one before.
Take a
Is
look
it in
and
the
see it.
payload? Is the
that
payload
looks
somehow
like
whack?
something in the runtime value. So the response body is right. So that's what we expect from.
Data.
That's what we got from Linode.
Yeah,
Did we?
that looks fine.
We did the JSON decode, right? We did the
We did the parse.
parsed
Yep.
it, yeah,
data.
in the
Dot.
payload, and then we're doing
Payload dot data dot length. I wonder if data is not there. It should be.
Then it would say
You look at your
unknown.
results.
It would say unknown property.
Payload data.
Looks like, that should grab, 0 should grab this one.
Out of curiosity, comment lines 8 and 9 and rerun. Let's just see.
See if that's where our error it lies. Nope.
Boom.
Same error.
Same error.
Well, we can comment some more stuff out.
So you got empty regions. Really does not look.
Oh, response body. You have response
That-
body again on line
we're
5.
decoding. We're decoding.
No, not there. Yeah, there you go. Oh, he's doing the copy.
There
The-
you go.
The
Okay.
copy pasta.
Good eyes. All right.
Not sure I'm going to put a poker chip on that square yet, but it's an error.
Well, it's definitely an error.
So and when you get that unknown token U, that's not a static error, but that's a runtime error, right? So that's it. It's code that is syntactically correct, but when you run it, something's not there.
And that's why I still not wild about having to define the inputs and outputs
Yeah.
and put it in the script. Like,
Right. We
one
need
of
some
one of these
automation around
steps
that.
shouldn't need to exist.
All right. That looks
Hey,
That looks awful like
exactly.
what we want.
like what we want, does it not? Okay.
Now we've built the getter. Now we need to get the user.
All right. So
user?
now, if you will go back to,
Oh yes,
now this should be as simple as going back to the
in
create
our
VM
action. Create VM. Now and inputs. We're going to create a new input.
No, you're just gonna take existing. You're just gonna take.
Oh yeah, I'm
existing-
going to. Sorry, there is an existing one. Region, and this is now dynamic choice. And we need to select the action we just created.
Oh, you
which
probably
we
have to publish it, right?
I'll bet we do.
Unless
yeah.
we have.
It
Give
seems
the option to
reasonable that
use
it-
draft.
Published. We'll just publish it. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You may have to.
I may have to one choice actions. There we go.
Look at
Region.
that. You don't even have to reload the Joker. All right.
All right. Drop down without none. That seems fine. Whatever. Let's try it. And
All
so
right.
even when I just hit test, it should prompt me right here for regions, and it should populate it from our thing if it had
Oh.
worked.
Oh.
Hmm.
It's got a list of something.
So it does have a list of
It
something.
has
So
a list of things. Maybe
Out of
we're not doing
curiosity,
display
maybe we-
value right. Let's take a
out of
look.
curiosity,
Try to-
no, out of curiosity, pick one.
Yeah, I want to run it. What's a type?
And let me pull that
What's
up.
a valid type? So I should be able to see what region is in the runtime even without a valid type. I'll just get an error on the API.
Type is, let me pick you any kind. Type would be, let's say Linode, capital L Linode, space 4, capital G, capital B. That should be enough.
So
Okay.
let's look at US Central.
Look at that. We had.
We have something.
That's great.
Are we sure it's name value? What did go back to the docs
Go
page?
back,
Here,
yeah.
I'll look.
Like this, valid Linode type. So it wasn't a region is not valid. Region is not valid. Okay. Did we not pass that in correctly? Region's empty. Oh, it probably dropped it when we changed. It dropped it out of the step. So here in the payload builder, it's empty.
Ah, there you go.
But it worked. Like
Right.
this part up here is what we wanted, which was US Central.
Right. So the only part now is just the display.
I think we're missing some elements. I'm looking at the docs page and it says there's a name, label, type, and value attribute. Incidentally, we have a syntax error on the docs page. It has a equal instead of a colon. I'm wondering if we put a label in there.
So we need label in addition to name.
We could put type string. Yeah, we need name.
Let's try label. Actually, just change name to label for fun. We got some time. Change name to label and see what happens.
Okay. I'm okay with trying to see what happens. And over here, we test.
You probably have to publish again, right?
Oh, did I not? Yeah. Once you publish,
you
have to continue to publish.
Sounds like an author's world.
Once you begin that rat race, you never get off. Which is why we tell students in labs, be careful when you publish. You may have to reload this guy. So I don't understand the role of name and
name. The example that they're doing is name is like lowercase or has underscores. It's almost like the field name, short underscore description.
What if we need name? We may need name and we may need name and label.
And probably throw in type as a string, because if you've got if type is a choice, then you have an array of choices in there as well. Wow, this is a horrible JSON example on the docs page.
Name
type
value.
In there twice.
Oh, it has display name and display value. Good golly. All right, let's try.
Where did you see that?
If you scroll underneath in the doc page, when it has that little var output section.
Oh. Name,
so they have two code examples that don't
default value.
There's two code examples that don't quite line up with each other.
No, they don't. So
if you scroll down, you see how it's got display name. Let's try display underscore name.
Wow, these really do not line up. That needs to be fixed.
All right. This is, remember up top when we said we're fumbling for you? This is the fumbling. So when we're done with this, we'll push it back to that organization.
Those examples are just, there's at least 3 problems on that page. We should use that as a test.
So I'm trying display name, value.
What we know is that the thing we do know is that value worked. We're just trying to make it show up on that choice list.
Right. So it's either going to be label or display underscore name.
And it's one of these things where there's, at this point, I was, my first test was to change the one thing. At this point, we might as well throw everything in there.
Then you don't know what you don't need.
Well, then we can, once we have a working one, then we can one by one take them out, right?
We'll give it a full reload.
Okay, processing, test.
No. So I tried display name.
Display underscore name? Yeah.
Yes, I copied and pasted. So
weird.
Did I leave name in there? I don't remember. What do we got?
I think you took name out.
We got display, name, and type.
Oh, okay.
So I took label out, but we had already tried label.
Why don't we? Yeah.
We're going to need that on a multi-line thing pretty soon, so it's more readable.
I mean, that's
out of here for complete, just for fun. Why don't we try creating a little flow?
Create a flow, okay.
Flow. I'm curious to see if the tester is
somehow not quite right.
Different, right? Yeah.
All right. So
Test.
No, it's not draft, but just so have it anyway. Get regions.
We don't need
Oh,
get regions.
yeah, now
we should just
for the create
just
VM.
do the create VM, and create VM should ask us for that. At flow design, so like right now,
Dang,
same thing.
Something's missing.
Well, values in the right spot because it's actually working. So we got display name, we got value, we got label, we got type. Oh, what the heck? Did they say string? Yeah, it's just lowercase string. We'll give it label as well. Just hit it with all the hammers, even though we did label one time before.
So I'm looking at my TOI notes from June that say data is made up of label and name. If you have a template, then you have a value. That doesn't make any sense, but okay. So label is a display value. A name is like an underscored value. Weird.
The other thing we can do
dynamic
is
template structure. We're not using a template though. We're just doing a dynamic choice structure.
Just give everybody a different thing and see if any of them work. That's not a bad idea. Don't forget to publish.
I will throw things at the wall.
This is where you're
the same values though.
This is where you're more creative than me, because you know what I would have named the every one of those things would have been name, type, label, because
so I don't want to have to remember.
Yeah, I don't want to have to remember which one I picked for which thing.
Was the label candy or was the label you?
Region still works, and it's not the same one as we got before. So actually choosing them from the list is actually doing something. We're just not we're not using the correct pairing.
Oh, this is so close.
But I'm willing to throw in the towel at this point and just ask for help, and we'll come back and put a comment on this and tell you and get this documentation updated, because
yes, that's horrible. There's at least 3 things wrong in there.
Okay.
Because yeah.
All right, so that so if you want to stop sharing, we can kind of have final thoughts. One of the key things I think here is learn the lesson from us, which is if you don't see this, it probably means you don't have enterprise turned on, which was my problem right last week, because if you recall last week I said maybe we'll make this a dynamic choice, and I didn't see it, and I didn't know why. And that's why, because I didn't have the enterprise plugin turned on. So the value, what seemed like the tricky part was easy, and then just getting it to show up on the screen apparently is the hard part of this one, because the docs don't line up with reality. So all we need to do is figure out there is a string that data object needs. Everything else is right. We're not finding the right thing. So once we identify that, we'll get the docs corrected so that hopefully no one else besides us
to run into the same
ever has this problem.
Yeah. Yes.
So we are hopefully the only ones having this problem. And with that, other than that, that's exactly what we want to happen, right? And it's exactly the use case, right? Okay, it's Q4 2019, a new data center is online. It's there. We didn't maintain it. It just shows up in the list, and we get it from the API at design time. Right.
Yep.
Again, this is not a runtime thing. This is a flow design time thing.
It is. And so a flow owner and maintainer will likely have to, if a choice that they used went away, they'll have to, adjust their flow. But that's less overhead than the other methods of doing this for sure.
And this is
and who has to do it is closer to the value seeker here.
That's exactly what I was about to say, is that the setting this up as a dynamic choice and building the data gathering is probably a dev organization type role. And in fact, not probably, it is exactly a dev organization type role. The using of it could be dev organization, could very easily be the business user, right? It could be whoever is in charge of the Linode account, basically, is the person who makes that decision. And I'm going to guess probably the dev organization may not want to be, they may not care, and they may not want to be in the business of deciding where it gets spun up. That's the person who's consuming the action and creating the flow for their particular business case. And so this is exactly what Float Designer and Integration Hub are about, right? Is moving decisions closer to the decider with fewer layers of communication necessary.
Absolutely.
Well said.
All right.
So I think that was not wildly successful, but I think we did exactly what the intent of this show was, which was not show you any BS and solve real problems. This is a real problem, and we'll also take the action to get the documentation cleared up so that other people don't have to fumble quite as much as we did today. And we're okay looking silly so that you don't have to head against this particular problem.
We'll do this to the whole internet so that you don't have to do this in front of your boss.
So coming up here shortly, we're doing Now It Works around the world. I will be in Tokyo next week. And when's your next one, Chuck?
I wish I was in London next week, but I have a family commitment. My oldest daughter's getting married, so I must be there for her.
When's your next?
The next one is Frankfurt on the 30th. I think it's the 30th of October.
Nice.
Followed by Sydney, which is 13th, 14th. I may be off a day on that one.
Yeah, that's 13th, 14th.
So Dave and Chuck will be there.
I will be in Sydney.
Sydney one. Yes.
And then Washington, D.C. the week after, which is the 19th, 20th of November.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sydney is the only one that I am scheduled to go to the rest of the year. So
we look forward to seeing y'all. If you don't have an Now It Work near you, also look on the developer website to see if there's a developer meetup near you. During this month, if you want to go to a Hacktoberfest event, take a look on their event site to see what's going on in your area. And as always, reach out to us on developer.servicenow.com. All
right, and in a meta sense for the Spoketoberfest, once we figure this out and get this this little bit working, we will actually publish. We'll do a pull request back to this repo, including this, so that we will have the data gathering action and the two actions that have already been created. Thank you to everybody who has been. We have actually gotten more pull request submissions early on than I was expecting, so we had a kind of a nice velocity. One thing to remember again is, so we're going to start accepting them soon. At this point, none of them have been kind of integrated into those repos. That will be happening very soon. You can make the pull request, and don't forget that DigitalOcean, for the first time, I think probably somewhere along the line, somebody had enough budget that they said, we're not going to make this infinite. That's why they are limiting to the first 50,000. So again, procrastination,
really big number.
That's a huge number. That's $500,000 of t-shirts when you add in shipping and everything. So their procrastination is not your friend. You do not want to be the 50,000 and first person. Let me tell you that. So sooner is better. And whether or not we accept the pull request, it goes on the date you made it, not when we incorporate it. So,
all right. Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you maybe next week. We'll see.
And thank you, Andrew, for jumping in at the absolute last second, or not even at the last second plus 10 minutes for when my interface wasn't working right. I appreciate that, brother.
Safe
all right.
Travels.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.